Okay, we're back. Proficiency exam, proficiency exam, proficiency exam. We're ready. Problem number 15. A painter is designing a mural. The mural will be shaped like a rectangle. The length of the mural will be 3 times the width of the mural. Which graph shows the relationship between the width of the mural X and the area of the mural Y? Okay, and because you have a problem that requires you to visualize, to imagine, to see a certain object that's shaped like what? Like a rectangle. I'm always recommending you guys to go ahead and put that picture in front of you, okay? Draw a small sketch of how that mural is going to look like, and you know it's a rectangle, and imagine that what I put here is a rectangle, okay? And we're talking about a rectangle that has more given facts, right? I know that the length and the width are in a certain relation. So basically, the length is 3 times your width, right? So I can say that the length in regard to the width is in a relation of 3 times the other one, right? I mean, the length is 3 times the width. More than that, the problem says, you know what? Because we're looking at 4 different graphs here in terms of x and y, please consider that your width is actually representing the x, right? So your width will be given by the x, and the area of, you know, this mural, the area, right? The whole surface that's inside your mural here is actually y, right? So y will be the area of your mural. And if you talk about the area of a rectangle, before I will go and work on anything else, the area of a rectangle, you guys remember 4th grade or 3rd grade, is length times width, okay? Now, let's get back to what is given to me. I know that the width is given in terms of x. Width will be x, which means my length is going to be 3 times the width, or triple the width, and it's going to be 3 times x. I'm going back to the area of this rectangle, right? The area is length times width, so let's write that. And because they said area is given by the y, or will be represented on the y-axis, I will say my y, my area, will be equal to what? Length times width, but length is what? 3 times width, which is x, times width, which is x. So it seems to me that the function I'm looking for here will be a function of x that will represent the area, y, and that function is given by this equation, 3x squared, all right? So in order to answer this problem, I'm going back to my graphs, and I'm looking for a graph that will be accurately representing 3x squared, okay? 3x squared has to be on one of my graphs, whichever one I will choose to be the answer here. And what do you guys notice? That graph, because I'm talking about a quadratic function, cannot be a straight line. By saying that, I can go ahead and eliminate which one of the 4 graphs? Right. If you got B and D as you know, part of your elimination list, you're right, because B and D are linear equations, and in no way, in no case, this y equals 3x squared will be represented as a straight line. Good. Next thing, I have to choose from A and C because both seems to be you know, representations of a quadratic equation, and I mean, I'm referring mostly to a quadratic equation where your domain will be all positive, right? I'm looking for an x that's greater than 0. Why is that the case? Because we're talking about a mural, a real thing, right? A real thing. They cannot have negative, you know, sides, negative measurements, and that's why I'm looking only for the positive part of excuse me, my axis, my width in this case, and all of them have that. However, you can go in different ways here and say, hey, yes, A is the answer and C is wrong, because if my x approaches 0, as if you're looking right here at, let's say a point with an x very close to 0, even 0 if you want, my y is also approaching 0. My y will also be very small. While in this case here, the C, right, in the C graph, as you can see, if your x is very, very small, hold on, if your x is very, very small, your y is not small, and actually your y will always be, or it starts as the minimum, what is that, uh, 3, right? Well, for my problem, for the formula of the area that I have, it looks like y and x do not start from, I mean, your y can get very close to 0 when x is very, very small, and that's why A is the right answer here. Because in for the C option graph, as you can see, if your x, supposedly your width will be 0, it seems that the area of your mural, the way it's represented here, will be 3. And if you talk about an equation of this kind of graph here, that will definitely be, y equals some number times x squared plus a 3. Because for x being 0, I still have 3 units here. So my y will still be equal to 3. Okay, and that's probably the vertex for whichever function is represented under the graph C. But that's not good, because for mine, I have no other value, no other quantity added to my 3x squared. So A is the answer. A represents the graph of the relation between the area of this mural and its width x, right? And I hope I have answered the questions, or any questions you may have in regard to this problem, and I gave you the explanation and the mathematical reason of why A is the right answer for a problem like this. So remember, drawing, put that rectangle in front of you on the piece of paper. Remember what the formula for the area of that rectangle is. Then write down the relation between the length and the width. Substitute what is the width equal to for this problem, and in this case it was x. Plug it into your area, substitute the length, substitute the width, and you have, right, area is 3 times x, which is y equals 3x squared. And obviously the only graph that will be accurate for this equation is A, and that's how you answer it. Okay, thank you very much. I will see you guys next time.